Coming up, everything you need to know in the wake of the government's state budget, as we hear from Treasurer Peter Gutwein. Anthony Albanese looks set to be named Federal Labor's new leader after Queensland's Jim Chalmers pulls out of the race. High-profile racehorse owner Damien Flower is in custody, charged over his alleged role in smuggling cocaine on commercial flights from South Africa. A man claims he's been shamed by airline staff after being told to change seats. And Lauderdale demands respect following its strong start to the season in the TSL. For all these stories plus more, join your local news team right here at 6 tonight. Tonight, infrastructure and health, the big winners in the Treasurer's 6th state budget. We cross live to Parliament House for the latest. Then, the hit to GST revenue, putting a handbrake on more spending. Plus, police reveal what caused a One Nation candidate's ute to go up in flames. Anthony Albanese in line to take the Labor leadership after another hopeful pulls out. Qantas defends its treatment of a man deemed too overweight for its seats. And British Prime Minister Theresa May expected to step down as soon as tomorrow.
Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The Treasurer has handed down his 6th state budget, admitting he was forced to make tough decisions, but it's the budget he's most proud of. As expected, the government spent big on infrastructure, but it's been forced to make significant savings across the public sector. Our reporter Michelle Wisby has been in the budget lockup today. Good evening, Michelle. The Treasurer had a few surprises to deal with.
That's right, Joe. We know the Treasurer did face some significant obstacles in the lead up to this budget, including $500 million less money in the bank than was originally expected. Now, we have already spoken to some advocates who say they've been underwhelmed by the budget. We did see funding increases for health and education, but they were not the centre point of the plan. Let's take a look now at how the day all unfolded. Tasmania has gone from being on the cusp of a golden age to maintaining momentum. There will also be additional beds and staffing. This year's spend only slightly more than in previous years, despite increasing demand. In education, the total spend over 4 years is $7.1 million, including $34 million to support children with a disability and improve TasTAFE facilities. Also, upgrades to early learning was a big winner, and continued funding for high schools extending to Year 12. In infrastructure, the total spend will be $3.6 billion. $1.6 billion of this will be for roads and bridges, while the rest for hospitals, schools and other facilities. Work will also start on the new Bridgewater Bridge next year, to be completed in 2024. And in justice, there's $16.8 million in additional funding for the prison service, money for the Ashley Youth Detention Centre and continued funding to help children in out-of-home care. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
While this year's budget is being hailed by business leaders, the social sector says it's been seriously let down. Unions claiming the Treasurer has created a gaping hole in a budget which they say lacks credibility.
It may be maintaining the momentum, but it's a budget rejected by the social sector. Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmania News.
We're joined now live by Treasurer Peter Gutwein. Good evening, Treasurer. We've heard big savings need to be made across the public sector. Does that mean job losses for frontline staff?
Well, Joe, look, I've been clear about that in terms of the efficiency dividend, it'll only be 0.75 of 1%. It will target consultants, advertising and promotion. It will look at vacancy control and natural attrition. And this budget underpins the creation of 10,000 new jobs.
All right, Treasurer, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Joe, thank you.
A cigarette butt is believed to be the likely culprit behind a fire which ripped through a campaign truck belonging to a One Nation candidate. The ute, carrying signs for Senate hopeful Adam Lambert, went up in flames at the Shoreline car park last Sunday. What was initially suspected to be an arson attack sparked outrage from all corners of politics, including Pauline Hanson. Federal Labor is tonight closer to naming its next leader, with only one name now left in the race. Anthony Albanese says he will respect all members of the party and put forward a positive vision for the future.
And then there was one.
I can confirm that I will be nominating.
Mark Riley, 7 News.
Theresa May remains the British Prime Minister tonight, but only after more upheaval in her government. The strain obvious as she clings to power following a new plot to overthrow her because of Brexit. Hugh Whitfield is in Downing Street tonight. Hugh, who wants her to move out now?
Joining a long list, another Conservative MP has quit Cabinet, Joe. That's Andrea Leadsom. She was Leader of the Commons and was scheduled to announce Theresa May's fourth Brexit bill. And that is true. Mrs May has a 24-hour reprieve. Brits are voting in European elections today, but most commentators, certainly the papers, believe she'll be out tomorrow. Joe.
OK, thanks very much for that. Hugh Whitfield joining us there. Well, one of the country's most successful racehorse owners is behind bars, accused of helping to run an elaborate cocaine import syndicate. Damien Flower appeared relaxed in court today as he heard the allegations that have rocked his family and the racing industry.
Millions in cash, kilograms of cocaine, and a high-profile racehorse owner unmasked.
Stay with us. Still to come in our broadcast tonight, a car chase turned deadly when a police officer opens fire. What caused Donald Trump to storm out of a meeting with the Democrats after just 3 minutes? And the milestone match for a proud footy family. Welcome back, everyone. A Tasmanian company says it's looking forward to harvesting its first ever crop of medicinal cannabis for the export market. Tasmanian Botanics received the final permit earlier this month to begin growing at a confidential site.
We're looking to get product in the greenhouse basically straight away now. A permit's been issued.
Climate change and balancing visitors with conservation are the major talking points of this year's Tasmanian Tourism Conference. Roughly 350 delegates from across the industry gathered in Launceston today to share ideas and tackle the challenges ahead.
Again, we're having a major focus later in the day about climate change, and I guess we all lived and experienced the impact of that over summer as an industry with the fires. And
the very rocky relationship between Donald Trump and Democrat leaders has disintegrated further. The president walking out of a scheduled meeting after just 3 minutes, vowing not to work with them until they stop investigating him.
It was a meeting to rebuild America, but ended with a wrecking ball.
I want to do infrastructure. I want to do it more than you want to do it.
Dramatic body cam has been released of a New Jersey police officer opening fire on a fleeing suspect. This is the frightening moment the chase turned deadly.
Stop the car!
One of Scottsdale's favourite football families is about to celebrate another milestone. Lee Nichols will play game number 200 this weekend, but he's still catching up to the mark left by his father.
Father and son sharing a kick and a hefty slice of northeast footy history.
And Tom Cooper will be joining us with more of the day's sport news a little later in our bulletin. With Joe Danaher's career at a crossroads as the star bomber faces last resort surgery. TSL heavyweight Lauderdale chasing more respect from its fellow clubs. And Usman Khawaja cleared of serious injury after copping one to the head. Those stories with Tom coming up shortly, but first after the break we'll take a look at the day's major news stories. And then a popular local swimming program wraps up. And Tasmania hits the national stage with a new festival launching in Launceston. Welcome back everyone. These are some of the stories making headlines tonight. Infrastructure wins big in the state budget, but GST revenue takes a hit. Anthony Albanese all but certain to take Labor's top job. The fiery destruction of a One Nation candidate's ute blamed on a cigarette butt. And still to come, the trailer released for a highly anticipated Tasmanian film. Actor Jeffrey Rush has been awarded almost $2.9 million in his defamation case against the Daily Telegraph. The amount, which includes more than $800,000 awarded last month, will be an Australian record payout, if not reduced on appeal.
He's an Oscar winner, recognised worldwide, but for Jeffrey Rush, this has been his most demanding, emotional role. Ashley Hansen, 7 News.
The curtains have been raised at Launceston College with the inaugural Australian Musical Theatre Festival kicking off on centre stage. A jam-packed program of workshops and performances is on offer, shining a light on the latest talent emerging from Tasmania.
Stars in the making, learning from the best in the business, practicing their moves and taking part in a brand new festival.
Young Tasmanians are being taught skills that could one day save their lives in the Royal Life-Saving Tasmania Water Safety Program. Students from around the state have taken part, with Herdsman's Cove Primary School having its turn on the program's final day today. More than 60 pre-Year 2 students from the school were learning how to be safe in, on and around water. The program ran for 2 weeks. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news. With thanks to Tasplan, your local not-for-profit Tasmanian super fund. The Australian share market has closed lower for the first time in 7 days amid losses for the mining, energy and financial sectors. The ASX 200 index fell 18.9 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 68.79 US cents and nearly 106 New Zealand cents. Sport is next with Tom Cooper. Good evening, Tom. Clarence keen to get back on track in the TSL.
Good evening, Joe. Yeah, things haven't quite clicked yet for the Roos. We'll hear from the side's coach after the break. Also coming up, Aussie cyclist Caleb Ewan blitzes the field in Italy, and Cripps preparing for their toughest test of the State Netball League season. Welcome back. St Kilda fans can breathe a sigh of relief tonight with Jack Billings reaffirming his commitment to stay put. The Star Saint says he isn't interested in looking elsewhere despite the potential for some big money offers.
A rare mistake from Jack Billings on the track, but he didn't fumble the chance to set the record straight on his future.
Joe Danaher's career is at the crossroads with the Essendon Star set for last resort surgery after being ruled out for the rest of the season. The Bombers have shot down claims they rushed Danaher back from injury too soon.
As the Essendon faithful celebrated the 15th anniversary of the long walk, news was filtering in they'd lost Joe Danaher for the rest of the season.
Back home, and Lauderdale coach Darren Winter says his side still doesn't get the proper respect from other clubs, despite being one of the best performers this season. While Clarence will have their work cut out for them this Saturday against the rampaging North Launceston. Coming off another impressive win against the Blues, the Southern Bombers have dropped just the one game this season, and Winter says it's time other clubs started treating them accordingly. To State League Netball, and Cripps are facing one of their biggest tests of the season, taking on last year's premiers, the Northern Hawks, this Saturday in Launceston. Cripps are currently sitting just inside the top 4 with 3 wins and 3 losses, with Hawks coming off an 11-point win over Arrows.
It's going to be a game where we need to be playing our best netball. This is definitely it. In terms of game style, they're very quick.
And finally tonight, it's been a victorious weekend for Launceston's Amy Lamprecht, who took out first place in a gruelling ultra-marathon in New South Wales. She did it easy in her 5th attempt at the 100-kilometre epic, beating the second place getter by 1 hour.
Amy Lamprecht taking out the women's top prize in the Ultra Trail Australia on Saturday night. Ruby Kamane, 7 Tasmania News.
More impressive, Joe. That 100-kilometre effort or a training partner's moustache, that was a beauty, but good on her.
Yeah, what a great story. Thank you very much for that, Tom. All right, coming up after the break, Peter Murphy will be joining us with the weather.
Good evening. Well, we just can't seem to push back into the 20s at the moment. 19 the top again today at a number of places, including Flinders Island, Bushy Park, Grove and Friendly Beaches. Hobart 18, Launceston 16, Burnie 15 and Devonport 14 degrees. The overnight low was -3 at Fingal, but most temperatures were around or above average today. St Helens 18, Ouse and King Island 17, Strawn a top of 16, Lowhead 15 today and Lyoweeney 10. There is mid to low level cloud over the west and north of the state, while high cloud thickened over southern parts this afternoon. And a band of cloud extends from southwest WA to our west coast. Mid to low level cloud covers most of Queensland, the top end and parts of New South Wales. The winds tomorrow mostly northwesterly at 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the south and west, and for other waters later in the day, swells to 5 metres in southern waters. We have a strong wind warning from southeast Cape up and around and back down to Wineglass Bay, covering a good portion of the coastline. So for tomorrow, Hobart, a shower or two developing, 19 the top, 18 for Huonville, a possible shower for Campania and 19 degrees. Showers in the north, Launceston 16, 17 the top for Devonport, a windy day for Georgetown as well and 16 the high. Burnie showers and 16, 15 for Strawn, Wynyard showers as well and 16 degrees. Showers developing in the east, 18 the top for St Helens and Swansea, 19 for Port Arthur. On Saturday, showers across the state, more prominent falls over the north and west. Showers extending across Tasmania during the day on Sunday as well. Snowfalls above 700 metres, and on Monday a similar pattern should exist with fresh and gusty southwest to northwest winds. A possible light shower tomorrow in Perth and Adelaide, a showery 19 degrees in Melbourne, sunny though in Canberra and Sydney, and of course a fine day in Brisbane and 24 degrees. Cloudy in Hobart, it's 14, 13 right now in Launceston, Devonport currently 12 degrees. Joe, the Hawks will be in town tomorrow, of course playing on Saturday afternoon. If you're heading to UTAS Stadium, the game's early, 1:45, so you can watch that game and then watch the big game between the Swans and Collingwood. With Buddy back and Collingwood with all their injuries, I reckon Swans are a chance.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that game, but thank you very much for that, Murph. All right, that's all from the news team for now. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you a little later. Bye-bye.
Buying stuff they cannot. I like drinking hard, maxing dad's credit card. I like skipping gym, scaring her. I like killer clothes, kicking nerds.